The movie begins with a man and a woman swimming in the pool. The man ogles the woman, but quickly looks away when another woman arrives, telling him to be quick, or else they will miss their bus. Sighing, he gets up. Later, as they are approaching the bus, they find out that the bus has left already, earlier than expected. They are told about another jeep leaving for the dunes, and the man excuses saying that she should go alone, as he is not feeling well, and will prefer lounging around the pool. His words infuriate her, and she leaves without him. Approaching the jeep, she finds a man and requests him to take her with him. Sighing, he agrees. The jeep owner is none other than the protagonist of our story, Alex Lippy. As they two drive away, it is revealed that someone paid the man at the bus stop to lie to her that the bus has left so that she would have no option other than to travel with Alex. Alex and the woman, whose name is Florence, ride towards the dunes, and on their way there, Alex tries to make small talk. It turns out that the man she has come on vacation with is her boyfriend. Alex continues talking, making her laugh with his sense of humor. Florence feels connected to Alex when he tells her that his partner wants to stay back at the hotel pool, so he comes without her. The two of them connect at the mutual feeling of being left out by their partners. On their way to the dunes, they stop at a camp, and Alex is immediately surrounded by kids. Florence smiles up at him since she is a grade school teacher who loves kids. This is when a doctor, Giselle, arrives and expresses her delight upon seeing Alex. As Alex goes to meet some kids, Giselle tells Florence that Alex is the best doctor out there. He even helped conjoin twins when everyone else declined to help. Florence looks towards where Alex is standing with two kids but can't hear what they are talking about. It turns out that the kids are not conjoined and are not even brothers, and it is all an act to impress Florence. Giselle says that she is happy that Alex finally found a woman. Florence laughs, saying that they are not together. Giselle looks at her and says that nevertheless, Alex hasn't been this happy in ages. After pretending to give vaccines to the kids, Alex and Florence drive away. She has a big smile on her face and gets happier when Alex says that they are now heading towards the dunes. As the two of them enjoy their time in the view, the man from before who paid to lie about the bus watches them for a while. Alex tells Florence how beautiful she is. As they look into each other's eyes, the mystery man releases a few birds and diamond doves. Alex shows the birds flying around them to Florence, saying that they are a rare sight and pretending to cry. Seeing this unravels Florence, and she pulls him in for a kiss. The mysterious man and a girl watch the two of them, happy that their plan worked. On the other hand, Alex tells Florence that even though she makes him feel something that he hasn't felt in ages, it is too late for him. She admits that Giselle told her all about Alex's divorce and the drama that followed. With a sad smile, Alex says that he cannot fall in love ever again, but Florence, on the other hand, can. She thanks him for awakening something in her and kisses him one last time. The mystery woman and men, after being satisfied, get into their jeep and leave. The next day, Florence also takes her flight back home. It is revealed that Florence's brother hired Alex and his team to break up Florence and her fiance. After getting paid, Alex also heads out. He narrated that women and couples come in 3 categories: the ones that are happy, the ones that are knowingly unhappy, and the ones who are unhappy but would never admit it. He works with the final category, breaking up couples for a living. They are 3 people: Alex, Melanie, his sister, and Mark, Melanie's husband. The 3 of them together help all types of women, and they have only one rule: to step in if the woman is really unhappy. Alex is the face of their team, doing all sorts of things to impress the women. And in all their time working as the breakers, there hasn't been a single job that they failed. Upon coming back from their work, he bumps into another woman he has worked with before. It turns out that a friend of hers saw Alex with Florence, and now she wants answers. Not wanting to tell her the truth, he lies that he was on a mission for the French government. Angry, she pushes him and walks away. The scene then switches to an auction going on. A young, beautiful woman can be seen leading it as her father looks at her with pride. After the auction, she comes and asks why he was there. It turns out that she is getting married, but won't let her father pay for the wedding or even buy her any gifts. It is revealed that the line of business her father is in disappoints her. As she leaves, she bumps into Alex, who asks her for directions but is ignored. Not taking any big notice, he keeps on going, and then finds the one person he came for, his father's friend, Dutour. It is revealed that they are meeting after 13 years, and the last time they met, Alex wanted to be a boxer, but left after one defeat. It turns out that Dutour knows about Alex and his line of work, and brought him a new job, none other than the girl who ignored him earlier. The girl is Juliette van der Beek, the daughter of the flower tycoon. She and her boyfriend Jonathan are getting married in 10 days, and he has to end their relationship before that. Alex asks for more time, but since it is impossible, he says that he will research and let him know. Melanie and Mark get to work immediately. She follows Juliet and Jonathan all around, snapping pictures and taking notes. After the research, they come to the conclusion that Juliet and Jonathan are the perfect couple, and they are genuinely happy together. Upon hearing their thoughts, Alex is not convinced, saying that no one is perfect. He asks about Jonathan's flaws, but it turns out that he comes from a very respectable and rich family in London. He is a graduate of Oxford and also a humanitarian. All in all, there is not one flaw in him that they can exploit to break his and Juliet's relationship. They kept researching, seeing if they could find anything against Jonathan. No matter how much they research, they always come up with one conclusion: they are actually happy together. Finally, Alex goes back to Dutour and tells him that he cannot do this job. He tries to persuade him, but Alex is clear. They never go after the woman who is actually happy. He goes back home and informs his team that he has turned down the job. Melanie is furious because they are broke, and they need this job badly. She keeps on ranting about all the problems that they have, but the two men, Alex and Mark, ignore him, busy eating and playing chess. A few days later, Alex goes out to solve their monetary problems. He goes to ask a man for a loan of 20 grand, but the man rejects it since Alex hasn't paid back the 30 grand he took earlier. He then threatens to ruin him if he doesn't pay him back. Afraid for his life, Alex agrees. Later, he calls Dutour and informs him that he will be doing the job. He informs him that Juliet will be in Monaco to prepare for the wedding, which is in a week's time, so he should start from there. And the good thing is that she would be alone. Jonathan won't be coming for at least 5 days. The scene shifts to Juliet at a shoe store in Monaco. Suddenly she realizes that she has lost her bag and starts looking for it. Once out of the store, she finds Alex with her bag. He gives it to her, telling her to keep an eye on her things. She looks him up and down, asking about who he is. It turns out that this time he is pretending to be her bodyguard, hired by her father. She quickly calls her father, who is with Dutour at this moment. After verifying that she is talking about Alex, Mr. Vanderbeck lies to Juliet, saying that people are threatening him, and she is his responsibility. Annoyed, she hangs up. Later, after completing her shopping, she offers to pay him double to leave. When he rejects the monetary offer, she offers herself, thinking that maybe some time with a beautiful woman will be enough to sway him. But when he still shows no emotions, she calls him a flunky, who is afraid of her father. Like any loyal bodyguard, Alex starts following Juliet wherever she goes. In his free time, he goes to his own room to check on Mark and Melanie. His workroom is connected to a bedroom, which is connected to Juliet's room, where Mark is adjusting secret cameras. Soon, Melanie arrives, dressed as a maid, and orders them to be quick as Juliet will be arriving soon. As if on cue, Juliet enters, but the men are long gone, while Melanie pretends to clean. That night, when she is busy going through her journals, she hears a knocking sound. This is when she finds out that Alex and her room are attached, which annoys her. She shuts the door on his face, and Alex turns around, only to find Melanie smiling and calling him a jerk. The team spends the whole night going through their notes, trying to find any point that they could exploit. Mark is tasked with keeping an eye on the cameras, and Melanie is to scout around looking for any flaws. Even after everything, they only come up with the fact that Juliet is a fan of George Michael and eats Roquefort for breakfast. Melanie tells them that at the age of 20, Juliet left her business school and vanished for a whole year, later coming back and abandoning business studies. Nobody knows where she was or what she did. To impress Juliet, Alex starts learning all the steps of George Michael's dance, and while he is dancing, she leaves the hotel. Melanie informs Alex about it. In a hurry, he runs after her only to find her leaving in a taxi. He quickly informs Mark about the make and model of the taxi, and through the traffic cameras, which he has very conveniently hacked, he keeps an eye on it. Alex, on the other hand, steals a bicycle and rides after her. Juliet is spotted at the harbor, and when Alex reaches her location, he sees her boarding a ferry. Seeing the ferry leave the harbor, Alex runs, takes a big leap into the ferry, and barely misses falling into the water. Finally, after catching his breath, he approaches Juliet, saying that he isn't easy to get rid of. But he is stunned upon finding that the woman is not Juliet, but a decoy. Sighing, he looks up and finds Juliet waving from a private boat, smiling. Later, when she comes back from her little adventure, Alex finds her and tells her that he has been paid to ensure her security, and whether she likes it or not, he is her bodyguard. Annoyed, he says that she can get rid of him if she pays him 50 grand. She smiles and writes a check in his name. After getting his money, he tells her that he will lie to her father, and the two of them can live their lives. Agreeing, Juliet rides in her car and drives away. Not far from the hotel, she finds an injured man lying on the road. It looks like someone hit his bike and ran away. Juliet slows down her car, and the person grabs this moment to attack her. She is kicked out of her own car, and the person steals it. As she lies on the road, hurt, she sees Alex running in to protect her, but instead of assisting her, he runs after the car. He gets in the car, and after the two of them are away from Juliet, the car slows down. It turns out that the person is none other than Melanie. She gets out of the car with Juliet's bag, and when he asks her to give it back, she punches him. Alex drives the car back to Juliet. He gets out and hands her bag and keys. This time, Juliet's behavior is not cold. She tenderly asks about him and gets worried, seeing his bleeding nose. She thanks him for saving her life, takes the check from his pocket, tears it, and hires him back. The two of them ride back together. Back at the hotel, the manager stops Melanie and asks her who she is because he has seen her working as a maid, a parking valet, and even a waitress. Instead of answering his question, she asks for a pay raise and vanishes when the manager gets busy with guests. The next day, as Alex drives Juliet to her location, he tells her that they need a code word so that he can know whenever she is in trouble. After thinking for some time, they decide upon the word handbag. While driving, Alex spots their van behind them. Soon, the car's radio tunes to Radio Monaco, which is actually Mark transmitting. Knowing about Juliet's love for George Michael, they transmit his song. Alex sings along and shuts up when Juliet stares at him. The car stops when they reach the venue where Juliet's wedding is going to be held. She goes inside, discussing matters with the event planner while Alex stays behind. He gets a call from Dutour, asking about his progress. But Alex counter-questions and asks why Vanderbeck wants to break his only daughter's wedding. Annoyed, Vanderbeck takes the phone, says that he pays him to act, not to ask questions, and hangs up. While Alex is busy peeing in the bushes, he hears Juliet shout the word handbag. Thinking that she is in trouble, he rushes, only to find out that she is messing with him. Later, he meets up with his team and tells them that Juliet is not like the others, and this mission would be really difficult. Mark nods, but Melanie orders him to complete the mission no matter what. Sighing, Alex orders them, saying that they will pull the air conditioning stunt that night. That night, as Juliet is in her room, getting ready to sleep, she sees that her air conditioning has started going up automatically. She tries controlling it through the remote, but in vain. She calls the reception, not knowing that the lines are intercepted, and she is talking to Melanie. Melanie promises to send someone to help, and the call ends. Mark dresses up as a worker, gets to Juliet's room, and starts working. Instead of repairing the AC, he turns on the fire extinguishing system, and water sprinkles all over her. Juliet shouts, and in a Polish accent, Mark begs her to not complain to anyone, or else he will be sent back to Poland when he has 3 little children to support. Hearing the commotion, Alex appears from his room. Seeing that her room is turned into a freezer, he offers her to stay in his room. She calls reception, asking for another room, only to find that there are no rooms left. Having no other options, she decides to take up Alex's offer to stay there. But when she sees that he is leaving to sleep in the car, she tells him that it's okay, and he can sleep on the couch. This is when she sees the DVD of her favorite movie, and is shocked to find that Alex loves the movie as well. The two of them decide to watch the movie together, and halfway through, she decides to sleep. At night, Alex watches her sleep, and when she catches him, he lies, saying that he is just checking to see that everything is right. She sighs, orders him to relax, and goes back to sleep. The next morning, Juliet wakes up to a beautiful spread of breakfast that Alex has ordered, and she is surprised to see Roquefort on the menu since it is her favorite. She smiles at the fact that he also loves it. Leaving her to get ready, Alex goes out and spits the mouthful of Roquefort on Mark's hand. Alex and Juliet then go for a run, since she is a fan of running. They run around the block, having a great time. After running for a while, they stop and look at the beautiful scenery around them. With each moment spent together, they start getting closer. At that moment, while looking at the vast sea in front of them, Alex brings out his crying act, talking about his late mother, the one that affects every female. But Juliet calms him down and resumes running. They get back to the hotel, and this is when a childhood friend of Juliet, Sophie, arrives. Leaving the girls together, Alex goes and gives a heads up to Melanie. Sophie is excited for her ex-best friend's wedding, but it turns out that Juliet is not so pleased with her being here. She even asks Juliet to pay for her room. Alex then drives the girls to their next destination. Where Juliet is the epitome of decency, Sophie is the exact opposite. She even makes moves on Alex, which surprisingly, Juliet doesn't like. At lunch, Sophie keeps drinking champagne, getting drunk. Leaving the girls to have food, he gets back to his actual work. He tips a waiter to drop hot coffee on him and wraps his leg in aluminum foil to save him from burns. When the waiter drops the coffee, Juliet gets worried and offers to sit with them. This is when he tells her about a motorcycle incident that happened with him in the past that resulted in him losing sensations in his leg, which resonates with Juliet since she also had a skiing incident with her shoulder when she was young. To check this weird theory, Sophie stabs her fork in his thigh, and it takes all his willpower to pretend that nothing happened. The girls then head to the hotel, where Sophie advises that the two of them should get drunk. Juliet sighs and informs her that the two of them will be going to the opera. This is when she gets a call from Alex, informing her that he wants to take some time off to rest. Now comfortable with him, she tells him that it's okay and that he deserves rest. She hangs up the call and starts getting ready. On the other hand, Alex watches her through the camera, a glint in his eyes. Melanie looks at her brother's smiling face, understanding. The girls go to the opera. While Juliet enjoys her time, Sophie gets bored. While watching through her binoculars, Sophie spots Alex. She tells Juliet, who is shocked because Alex asked for some time for rest, and that she never told him where they would be going. Juliet is impressed by Alex's taste in music and having similar interests as her. After the show ends, Alex quickly leaves, pretending to get in a taxi, which is driven by Melanie. Juliet follows him out but sees him driving away, a smile on her face. Back at the hotel, as Alex watches her through cameras, she comes up to his door and stops herself before knocking. Alex, who is waiting for her to knock, is shocked when Sophie arrives in his room, half nude. He tries to send her away, but she is totally in the mood to sleep with him for the night. Pushing her away, he gets enough time to call Mark for his help. While Sophie tries her absolute best to make out with him, Mark arrives, saving Alex by smashing a bottle of her head, rendering her unconscious. After handling the situation, Alex gets back to his room and finally hears a knock from Juliet's room. He opens the door and finds an unexpected surprise. Jonathan has arrived earlier than expected. Jonathan thanks Alex for his services and closes the door on his face. He then turns towards Juliet, telling her that they don't need Alex anymore. The next morning, as Alex is standing on the balcony informing Dutour about the situation at hand, the right hand of the man to whom Alex owes a lot of money arrives, threatening to end Alex. He tells the right hand that he will arrange the money soon, and after giving a day deadline, he leaves Alex alone. Since things are more complicated now with the arrival of Jonathan and a deadline on his head, Alex speeds up his work. He gets another shock when he is told to drive the couple to the airport, as they are leaving to get married, 2 days earlier than planned. He drops the two of them at the airport and tries to either stop her from leaving or take him with them, but fails. The plane takes off, and Alex stands there looking defeated. But fate takes an interesting turn when the plane turns around and lands. Juliet and Jonathan get off the plane, and Alex drives them back to the hotel. At the hotel, Sophie gets in the car with Juliet, and she tells her how she changed her plans. The girls go for wedding dress shopping, and while Juliet goes through the stuff, Alex watches her from afar, something like love in his eyes. But fate makes a joke when one of Alex's previous clients arrives at the store and recognizes him. But thankfully, Alex has enough brains to handle the situation. Later he meets up with his team, and they all plan on different ways to fasten their work. Later at lunch, Juliet meets up with Jonathan's parents, discussing the wedding. His mother is a bit skeptical about the way Juliet is planning the wedding, but shuts up when Jonathan takes Juliet's side. That night, while in bed, Jonathan talks about how excited he is that Juliet will soon be his wife. But surprisingly, Juliet seems to have some doubts. After he falls asleep, she goes to the balcony of her room and finds Alex on the neighboring balcony. They talk about life, and for the first time, Alex feels actually hurt that Juliet will be married to Jonathan in less than 24 hours. The two of them make a plan to sneak out at night for some fun, and she heads back to get dressed. He also goes back to his room, and this is when Melanie confronts him. It turns out that while trying to get her to break her wedding, Alex has actually fallen in love with her. Pretending to be a valet, Alex takes a sports car from one of the guests and, along with Juliet, drives away. They spend the night together, going from one place to another, having fun. They have the best time of their lives, but are interrupted by a call from Jonathan. He is worried because he woke up and saw that he was alone. Instead of telling her fiance the truth, Juliet lies that she is with Sophie. After hanging up the call, she starts to dance with Alex, and they almost kiss. When they reach back to the hotel, it is heavily raining. Surrounded by rain and romantic melodies, Juliet leans in to kiss Alex, but he stops her right on time. Realizing what she is about to do, she thanks him and leaves. Alex sighs, not knowing that Dutour and Van der Beek saw this awkward encounter. After she leaves, they two come out of the car and ask Alex about the updates. He lies that he cannot do it anymore. On the other hand, Alex spends the remaining night standing by the sea. Juliet sees him from her room and makes up her mind. When Jonathan comes out of the shower and tells her to hurry up for the wedding, a sad smile crosses her face. Making up her mind, she goes to Alex and hugs him from behind. Not being able to hurt her anymore, Alex tells her that they cannot be together because he has no feelings for her. Heartbroken, she leaves. His departure creates a big hole in Alex's chest, and with a pain like nothing he has ever felt before, he heads back to his room, only to find the right hand in a fight with Mark. He quickly helps Mark subdue him and runs out of the room before he wakes up. On their way out, in the elevator, the three of them bump into Van der Beek and Juliet, dressed as a bride. They get into huge trouble when, accidentally, Mark drops the file they made on Juliet. She looks at Alex in disbelief as the realization hits her, but he is not able to muster up the courage to look her in the eyes. Thankfully, the elevator stops, and she gets out. On their way to the wedding venue, Juliet's father tells her that while Jonathan is a good man, she will be bored with her. He also tells her that Alex refused to take any payment for the contract. On the other hand, at the airport, Melanie chides Alex for walking away from real love to return to an empty life of fake seduction. Realizing that she is right, he runs toward the wedding from the airport. Juliet, while walking down the aisle, realizes that she is in fact in love with Alex and cannot live without him. She turns around and runs away. The movie ends with the two of them meeting under the trees and confessing their love for each other. Alex even admits that he hates Roquefort and George Michael and has never seen Dirty Dancing. He is broke and sleeps in his office, but he needs to see her every day. Laughing, they kiss each other with passion. Later, it is revealed that the man to whom Alex owes money actually works for Juliet's father, while Juliet's scheming friend Sophie flirts with Jonathan. Later, Melanie and Mark alone attempt another seduction, but Mark doesn't quite have Alex's charm to pull it off successfully.